We are live.
Hi guys.
Hello, welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Hayley.
And this is the Speed Mooting Partners in Crime podcast, episode 89.
Welcome.
So, it's been a while since we've recorded and we're back doing our next batch for you.
Our Christmas specials, as you can see.
Our Christmas specials. You might notice this is...
festively dressed.
An Only Fools and Horses special. Jumper, anyway.
We're not talking about Only Fools and Horses, are we?
Oh, that would be amazing. I wish I could talk about it for so long. I wonder if Gen Z watch Only Fools and Horses, because when you think, it kind of stopped when we were kids, wasn't it? So it's probably...
It's legendary though, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd like to think so. Yeah, I wonder. If you're Gen Z, comment if you're still watching Only Fools and Horses.
I don't understand all the gens. People might not know they're a Gen Z.
Oh, probably they do. I think it means that you're born...
Are we millennials?
We're millennials.
I see. I know what I am.
So I think millennials cover people who were born up to, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 1996.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
just about millennials?
Just
Giving away our age.
Well, we're kind of bang in the middle because I think it's like mid-80s to mid-90s, I think.
Okay.
And then there's another one, and then Generation Z are the latest one who were, I don't know when they're born, basically young people. And then I think there might be another one after that as well. Long and short, what we're saying is we don't know what the different generations are.
No, we don't. So it's hard. So that was my point. People might be wanting to comment but not knowing what gen they are.
Yeah.
So we'll open this comment up to everybody. Just let us know if you're still watching Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah, let us know if you still watch. And also, even better, what's your favourite episode of it?
Mine is Gary. And I don't need to say anything else.
You don't need to say anything else.
If you're a fan, you'll know what that means.
You'll know Gary. Oh my God. Going to school the next day after that, everyone was just shouting Gary on the playground. And my favourite is Peckham Spring.
See, I haven't watched them enough to know. I just
hilarious.
know I know the Gary one.
I won't give away the episode just in case you've not watched it. Look for the Peckham Spring episode. It's my favourite. Very closely followed by Del Boy doing Pre-Blessed Wine.
Oh, I've seen that one, yeah.
But anyway, we're not talking Only Fools and Horses. And I should say, you've got the little Ryan Robin, but it's as a sleigh. And it says Cushy Christmas because, he says everything's cushy, doesn't he?
Oh, okay.
But anyway, we're getting carried away here. And I should say, if you've clicked on this episode and you've looked at what the title is, we're going to discuss whatever it is in the title. Don't worry, we will discuss that. We were accused of being clickbait recently, weren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Because we had an episode about Mazet and someone clicked on, and because we, have a bit of an introduction, we got a horrible comment. Oh, this isn't Mazet, this is clickbait.
And we talked about the Mazet case for a good 15, 20 minutes. So.
Yeah. Look at the length of the video. This is a tiny portion.
Well, it would be, but we keep going.
But we keep going on. We keep saying we're going to move on, but we will. Don't worry. So, if you've clicked on looking for whatever it is we're going to discuss in this episode, we'll get to it. Don't worry. As Gary Barlow once said, have a little patience.
Right, let's move on.
Let's move on. We need to name this episode.
Stop talking over me, John.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, say that again, Hayley.
Let's name the episode.
Okay, let's do it. So, it's episode 89. And it's Formula One again. I was shocked how many Formula One drivers have numbers in the 80s.
We've been going Formula One in the last few now, haven't they?
So the last two episodes prior to this and 81, so 4 drivers in the 80s have numbers. So this guy, I think he only ever did one Grand Prix, which was the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix. And the reason they called it that is because I think they had 2 Grand Prix in Bahrain in 2020. Basically, it was a condensed season for obvious reasons. COVID and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so they used multiple track. So they used one track more than once during the course of the season. So it's the Bahrain circuit. So they had one that was the Bahrain Grand Prix, but then they called another one the Sakhir Grand Prix and used a different layout. So it was interesting watching it.
Yeah.
And I think Lewis Hamilton missed this race. So George Russell got promoted to Mercedes for that one race. Was going to win the Grand Prix apart from he had technical issues, so he would have won that Grand Prix. So because Russell moved to Mercedes, he had an empty seat at Williams, and this particular driver filled his seat.
Oh.
Okay, so he's a British driver. Do you know his name?
I haven't got a clue.
Okay, it's a guy called Jack Aitken.
No, never heard of him. Sorry, Jack.
Yeah, so he drove this one Grand Prix. He's now driving in endurance sports cars, I think. But do you want to know what's most notable about Jack Aitken?
Yes.
He follows me on Twitter.
Does he really?
Oh, yeah. He does.
What a claim to fame.
What a claim to fame. He follows me on Twitter. So you never know. He might know all about Speed Mooting. He might be a big fan of the podcast. So, Jack, if you're watching, enjoy.
And if you are watching, get in touch because we want you on as a guest.
Yeah, we want you on as a guest, actually. Yeah, come on the podcast.
Absolutely.
So, welcome to episode 89, the Jack Aitken special.
Welcome.
Right, so we've been chatting for the best part of 5 minutes now about... Nonsense.
Let's give you some substance.
Yeah. So, where are we starting today, Hayley?
Well, you're the one who set this episode out, John.
So, I think let's start. It's a big buzzword.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
Well, I'd like to think you know more about this than I do. But it's a thing called commercial awareness.
Mm-hmm.
You hear about it all the time. You know, when I was at uni, it was, you've got to have commercial awareness. You need to know commercial awareness. So let's talk a little bit about commercial awareness, Hayley.
Yep, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So, big, exciting news.
Yeah.
We have just launched the Commercial Awareness Club. So, if you're following us and you're following Speed Mooting, you'll know we already have an advocacy club.
Yeah.
But we thought, what's something that complements it, that's super equally important as an aspiring and junior lawyer, and what's something that, isn't traditionally taught, what's a skill that's hard to get practice of. And commercial awareness is another gap that we thought this needs to be filled.
Yeah.
And like we do with everything at Speed Mooting, if we see a gap, if we see a problem, we want to solve it.
Yeah.
So we've been working on this
for quite a while now, haven't we?
The idea came about a year ago maybe, but we've been working on it for a good 6 months.
Yeah.
And we launched it to our mailing list and our community hub last week.
Yeah.
And it's looking very popular.
It really is, yeah. It's been a big uptake already, hasn't it?
Yes. And we launched it publicly today, right before we came to the studio. So we'll see how it's been received once we finish.
Yeah, once we
finish.
If there are more members when we get back. But yeah, it's looking popular already. So next week's session is going to be really popular. So it meets on the final Thursday of every month, with the exception for only 1 month, January 26th, we're on the final Wednesday. But every other month, it's the final Thursday of the month. Mm-hmm. All on Zoom. No dress code, so just dress comfortably for it. So we send out a bundle 7 days in advance. And there'll be some sort of problem that we give you. So, for example, with our first one, we're discussing the 2025 autumn budget. So that came out, I think, last week. The Chancellor announced the budget. Many changes, lots of headlines off the back of it. And, of course, Hayley, you'll know this from your time in practice. When a budget comes out, it has massive implications for individuals, for businesses, for sole traders, across many industries. And these are changes in relation to tax, in relation to how you can write off certain things. It's mainly around tax, but tax in terms of personal tax, how properties are taxed, how commercial properties are taxed as well. So there's lots of implications there, and that ultimately has an impact on the bottom line for businesses, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. And quite often you'll find that you'll get clients that will phone you up as a lawyer and say, how does this impact me? What do we need to do? Where do we go from here? What changes do we need to make? What needs to be put in place?
Yeah.
So, it's massive. And to be able to think about that from a commercial point of view and provide practical, pragmatic advice, that's what clients want. That's what clients are paying for. And that's hopefully what we're going to help you do at the Commercial Awareness Club.
Yes.
Is to develop that skill and think commercially.
Yeah. And this is when you're a student or when you're, very early on in your career, it is a term you'll hear all the time. Or you've got to be commercially aware. When you're doing your vacation scheme interviews or your training contract interviews, you're going to be tested for your commercial awareness. But it seems like such a foreign concept at that stage. I know for me, definitely, back when I was a student, I was like, what does it mean? And people are like, you have to understand businesses. And it's like, oh, okay. But what does that mean, though? It's such a foreign thing. So we're trying to break down the confusion and the stigma around it.
Yeah.
Because at its heart, you've just gave a really great example there, John. But at its heart, being commercially aware just simply means you understand what's going on in the wider commercial world. And you can think, oh, I've got a lot of real estate clients. Oof, something's changing about property tax. My client's probably going to be a bit worried about this. I need to help them think strategically about this change. So it's such a simple thing. Once it clicks, it's like, oh, that's all it is. And, you know, it doesn't even have to be financial. It doesn't have to be something that's only being talked about on the business pages. It can be this Mazir case recently.
Yeah, of course.
You know, you can think, oh God, that might impact how my firm works, how my firm makes money, or we've got a lot of clients that use our Silex lawyers. How's this going to impact us? It's just about, you think about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. And when you're being tested about this in your training contract and in your vacation scheme interviews, pupillage interviews as well, you know, it's just as important for barristers to understand the bigger picture as it is for solicitors. They're only really testing that, you know, you can think the right way.
Yeah.
If you're going for a training contract interview as a student, they know you're not a businessman, you're not a tax expert, you haven't been trained yet. But as long as you can show them that you can think, oh, okay, I understand there's been a budget, I understand here's a couple of things that they've said, that's probably going to have a knock-on effect for clients in this sector, isn't it?
Yeah.
So as a law firm, you probably need to give your client advice about that. Like, it only has to be a rudimental understanding of thinking deeply about these issues. So we're going to help you do that in the Commercial Awareness Club.
Well, I think that the practical example, and someone, they were either on our podcast or on one of our Q&As and gave the perfect example of kind of what commercial awareness is. So there's understanding the law and knowing what the law says about a problem, a scenario, a case, whatever it might be, and how that applies practically, or how that applies, you know, from a theoretical point of view. But then you got to think about the practical sides of an issue as well. And the very simple classic example of what this individual gave is how to understand commercial awareness. Let's say someone's playing cricket in the back garden, they knock the ball over and it goes through the window of the next door neighbour, you know, the conservatory window, whatever it might be. So, you know, you'd have a claim in tort there, and, you know, very easily you could sue them, take them to court and what have you. But you got the practicalities around, well, the costs of going to court, but then also you live next door to that person as well. So you've got, you know, the fact that you've got to live next door to that person and you've got ongoing court proceedings and the like. Mm-hmm. It's one of those whereby, you know, in that classic scenario, you probably have a chat, come to some sort of agreement. Can you replace the window?
Yeah.
That's the commercial, the practical way that you'll go about things. So that's understanding how the law applies in black and white and how you would deal with a problem commercially.
What's actually the best thing for your client isn't always the simple thing of, like that example. Yes, legally you can do this, but commercially, is it the best thing to do?
Yeah.
And it's often not as straightforward as that. So that's a really good example.
It's a good, you know, it's a very simple.
Do you remember the name of the person who gave it?
I think it was Michael Trevelyan.
Ah.
I think it was him.
Michael Trevelyan, that's so nice because you tell people who he is and I'm going to get his comment up.
So Michael Trevelyan, so he took a similar route to the bar as that I took. So he did the bar course, converted, became a solicitor, and now he's a barrister at Cornwall Street Barristers. I think they're based in Birmingham. He's doing really well at that chambers as well. I think he's done a bit of crime in the past and now he focuses on a lot of civil-based work. But he's been supporting speed mooting events for many, many, many years. He's judged at a lot of our competitions. As I mentioned, he's been on the podcast. He's been on our Q&A sessions. So very good friend of speed mooting, isn't he?
Yes. And when we did the public launch of the Commercial Awareness Club, he has reshared it with this post, which I think is really cool. So
yeah, read it out.
Honestly, I cannot get over how good speed mooting and its many sub-branches is for aspiring lawyers. It's an incredible resource that levels the playing field for all who want to join the profession. I recommend it to all of my mini pupils, students, and anyone I meet who expresses the slightest interest in law.
Yeah.
So thank you, Michael.
Yeah, much appreciated. This video is brought to you by Speed Mooting. We are an organisation that help aspiring and junior lawyers. We run online and in-person advocacy and mooting competitions. We do online advocacy and public speaking training, and we run lots of other events to assist people on their legal journey. To learn more, visit our website, speedmooting.com.
So yeah, that's the latest from us.
That's the latest, yeah.
Commercial Awareness Club. So if you're listening to this thinking, gosh, I struggle with commercial awareness, or I'm really rusty, or I could really use some practice, then it's the perfect place for you. And just like our advocacy club, we keep things very simple, very straightforward. So the autumn budget, for example, even if you haven't got the foggiest what it was announced or what it means, we explain that all very clearly for you in the bundle, and we give you a really easy way to approach the task. And you can just come along and join in the discussions if you don't want to perform the commercial awareness task per se. I won't give away too much. We'll recap after the first meeting, I think. But yeah, there's options to observe parts, there's options to take centre stage in parts. It's going to be a really, really interesting meeting. So to learn more and to join the Commercial Awareness Club, just head over to our website, speedmooting.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Just made me think then, you're talking about budgets and chancellors and all that. I remember, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast, when I was on my degree in third year, I did a non-law module, and I did international business. So as part of the module, I had to do a coursework or a portfolio or something that I submitted, and then there was a written exam as well. And it worked in a similar way to law exams. So, you'll have your a problem question or a scenario question, and you've got to give advice in the scenario. How would you go about these business operations? But the start of the exam was very straightforward. 1 mark answers, quick answer, a quick question, and you give a 1 word answer, whatever, or multiple choice. I remember one of the questions on the exam: who's the current Chancellor of the Exchequer?
Really?
But wow, it's very, very different to your law exams. You never get questions like that on your legal exam.
No, there's no 1-word answers on a legal exam, I don't think.
Yeah. Answer at the time was George Osborne.
There we go.
Gives you an indication of when I took that exam.
But anyway, speaking of commercial awareness, we do have a hot topic that's in the news to talk about, don't we?
We do. So once again, this links back to the same subject. As Hayley says, read up, know what's in the news, because that's going to be ripe for content for questions when you go into a training contract or a pupillage interview. And you may have noticed a few months ago, a report came out from Leveson where he's talked about what he would describe as inefficiencies in the court system and potential changes going forwards. And one of the big recommendations coming out of that was wholesale changes to the way in which the jury system operates. And then a few weeks ago, there was a leaked memo, wasn't there, or some leaked information that there have been proposals from the government to really scale back an individual's right to a jury trial. And naturally, there's been a lot of talk on legal Twitter, on LinkedIn, all about this, the potential fallout and where this goes. And spoiler, many in the profession are not particularly impressed with the proposals. One of the major proposals that comes out of this is that in many Crown Court cases, the right to a jury trial will go. And in effect, you will have a single judge that will determine cases. And it's only in the most serious cases, murder, things of that nature, where the right to the jury trial will remain.
So just before you delve deeper into that, John, how is that different now? So now, what goes before a jury now? Just that I'll tell our audience
so the way it works at present, because you might not know this, so we have 3 types of offences in this country. You have summary-only offences, you have either-way offences, you've got indictable-only offences. So indictable-only, they're your most serious cases, rape, murder, etc. They can only be tried in the Crown Court. And of course, at present, any Crown Court trial has a jury. Summary-only offences, they are at the lower end in terms of seriousness, and they can only be tried in the magistrates' courts. So most of your motoring cases, speeding, drink driving, low-level assaults. So, we're talking sort of Section 39, assault by beating, common assault, etc. Things of that nature. And then in the middle, you've got what's called either way offences. And either way offences, as the name suggests on the tin, can be tried either in the magistrate's court or in the Crown Court. Now, with an either way offence, the magistrates can decline jurisdiction. So they can say, no, this case is too complicated, there are too many witnesses, whatever it might be, this needs to go to the Crown Court. Or an individual, a defendant, has a right to elect a Crown Court trial. So even if it was, a very, very straightforward either way offence, something that could be dealt with in the magistrate's court in an hour, if a defendant wants a jury trial on that, they can elect the jury trial, and it goes up. Okay, so the majority of offences can go to the Crown Court for a full jury trial at present. The proposal is to really scale that back, so it's only the most serious of offences that would have a jury. Now, what's interesting with the leaked information is that they're proposing judge-only trials, whereas Levison's proposals, for example, talked about, for example, Crown Court bench, and it'd almost be like the way in which Crown Court appeals work at present, where you have a Crown Court judge flanked by two magistrates. And all of this is in the name of efficiency. So at present, the backlog in the Crown Court is somewhere in the region of around 80,000 cases. That means there are 80,000 cases awaiting trial at present. I think I read stats as well that the backlog in the magistrates' court is around 300,000 at present. And what that means is that in certain parts of the country, if you went into court now for your PTPH and asked for a trial, you're getting a trial listed 2028, 2029. I think I've even heard about trials in 2030 as well.
Yeah.
So you're waiting 3, 4, 5 years for a trial. Certain parts of the country don't have as much of a backlog. So Liverpool, for example, is quite efficient. They're listing bail trials within 12 months or so. So Liverpool is really on top of things at this moment in time. But other parts of the country, there is quite a backlog there. So the whole idea the government are going to suggest, I would imagine, is that by removing the right to a jury trial, it's going to create efficiencies in the system and remove the backlog.
So is the process of, in your experience, of appointing, I don't know if that's the right word, but appointing the jury and explaining things to the jury? I know whenever there's is it like a point of law or something, the jury has to come out and come back in and stuff. Does all of those things really slow down the trial process?
I mean, so a trial in the Crown Court is slower. You can't deny that. But what a lot of people are saying, and I would agree with this, is that it's not necessarily the jury that is responsible for the backlog. I don't see that removing juries would cut the backlog in the way in which they're suggesting.
So you think the trials will be pretty much take the same amount of time, give or take, with or without a jury?
I would imagine so. Because the difference is, let's take a magistrate's court, for example, whereby, you haven't got to be having a jury going in and out, or, even take a magistrate's court trial where you do have a district judge, so you've got a judge alone on a trial.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go in, kick off straight away. You haven't got to bring a jury in. You've not got to empanel them. You're not going to give directions to the jury, etc. But the time that all of that takes, I don't see that it's going to make massive savings, because you've got, at the start of the trial, okay, you've got to bring all the jury members in. You do your ballot, swear them all in. The judge will give, opening remarks to the jury, and then away you go. And then, of course, as you say, if ever a point of law arises, the jury needs to be excused. You'll deal with the point of law, and then you move on from there. But the only real time that you're saving there is the jury going in and out.
Yeah.
Because the point of law, you've got to argue the point of law anyway. And then likewise at the end, okay, so you'll decide on your directions, and then the jury will receive the summing up and the directions, and then they need to go off and deliberate. Now, jumping around, what a lot of people are saying is, well, the benefit of having a jury when it comes to deliberations is that whilst they're out deliberating, the judge can then deal with other work.
Yes.
So you've got two things going on at once, whereas if you didn't have that, the judge obviously will need his or her time to deliberate. Plus, I think the expectation is they're going to have to draft the judgment as well. So, are you really saving all that much time there?
But then, because the judge is so much more clued up on the law and stuff, will they come to decisions a lot faster than juries do?
Yeah, I mean, they might do.
I mean, I must say, I need to give this more thought to be able to put my stamp on whether I think it's good or bad. I know the overwhelming response from the legal industry is that it's very bad. And I'm sure these people who have that opinion have given it a great deal of, time and thought. So it probably is the opinion I would land on as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know, haven't given it enough thought. So when I say things like this, will a judge come to a decision faster? That's not me agreeing or disagreeing. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, and that's the question, and that's the massive criticism, because I think figures have been thrown around in terms of the amount of sitting days that this is going to save overall, and the amount of time. So I think it's somewhere in the region of about 20% that it's been suggested that this might save, but they've not really quantified that. Explained where it is that's going to come from, how it is that this will save 20% of court sitting time. And I think the other criticism of this is that, for example, with a judge sitting alone, so you've mentioned about when a point of law arises, you're going to argue the point of law in front of the judge. So you might have a bad character argument, and the judge might say, yeah, no, the bad character's not going in.
But they've heard it.
They've heard it anyway.
Yeah, so it's hard for them to stay impartial, isn't it, when they've heard everything? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, whether there's going to be any workaround to that, does a different judge come in to hear any applications of that nature? I don't know.
But once again, can you imagine what that's going to do to efficiency?
Well, exactly. So how they're going to deal with that point, I don't know. I've not seen anything in terms of where are the safeguards going to come from? Because the very point of kicking the jury out so you can have a point of law is so that the tribunal of fact doesn't hear anything that it shouldn't hear.
Yeah.
So it's been a really interesting piece on this by His Honour Judge Rivlin. So he used to sit, I think it was Southwark Crown Court where he sat. I might be wrong on that one. But he's done an interesting piece on this. Have a look online, you'll be able to find it, where he's done a lot of analysis of the arguments in favour of removing the right to the jury trial and the trial by the judge alone, and he's given his opinion on this, and he's very critical of some of these proposals. But it's an interesting read anyway.
Yeah.
And of course, being completely balanced, of course. Sir Brian Levison has, of course, released a report on this, and he gives his arguments in favour. So likewise, you've got to look at all sides of the argument. So I'd suggest, if you're going to look into this any deeper, of course, have a look at Sir Brian Levison's findings as well.
Yeah, for example, if you're a commercial barrister, for example, your client who might be not commercial, sorry. If you're a criminal barrister and your client is a commercial solicitor, they might come to you and say, what does this mean? Our clients are asking us about it. As a barrister, you'd have to give your advice and give both sides advantages and disadvantages, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, certainly.
I wonder if any criminal barristers have been approached yet.
I wonder. I don't know, actually. Very interesting. Yeah.
See, what we kind of do in the commercial law firm world, when something like this is happening and it's a hot topic, we'll turn it into a bit of a BD, business development opportunity as well.
Oh, right.
So someone will have been approached already, probably. There's probably 1 million articles already out, and be like, quick, let's write an article about this. And then we'd send it to our clients and be like, oh, if you're wondering what this means, here's an article. We can give you some more detailed advice if it's, if there's anything specific to you that you need to know. So it's always a business opportunity as well when something hot hits the news.
Yeah.
It's just who can get there first. I know there's always people when I worked in law firms that they have contacts with different magazines. Yeah. So they'd want to get to their contact first and go, we can write an article. And sometimes they come back and go, got one. Because the people are that fast.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
And that's
The hot
so
news.
that's what's going on with the jury trials. So I mean, by the time, well, certainly this episode will be out tomorrow anyway, because we're recording this on Thursday the 11th. I have to think of the date then. But we're going to be recording the next few episodes in a few moments' time, actually. But so by the time they come out, there might be new developments. There might be we might have a definitive answer one way or the other, or maybe the plans might be scrapped. Who knows? But we'll surely comment on this again in 3 weeks' time. Anyway, we've been recording for some time on this one, so we probably need to bring this episode towards a close.
Okay.
So it just leaves me to say that I've thoroughly enjoyed recording this one. Hayley, have you enjoyed recording it?
I've enjoyed recording it, John.
Brilliant. If you've enjoyed listening, we hope you have. And if you have and you're still listening at this point, drop us a comment below.
It's got to be jury trials, surely.
Yeah, jury trials. Yeah. So, just leaves us to say thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.